was originally these pearls and it was double-stranded, but the pearls, it kept breaking, and they're not real pearls, but they're very nice imitation pearls, so I decided to string them with some other doodads, very similar to Swamp Arsenal stuff, but a little bit different, you know. I don't want to just be copying what they're doing, and of course you can never copy somebody exactly anyway. And I did buy one of their necklaces as well. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is going to be the Earth signs. Reading the Earth signs. That's going to be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn for the week ahead. So the cards that I'm going to be using, of course, are the Secret Arcana mixed with the regular Oliver Hibbert Tarot deck. And then over on the members side of the channel, this is the piece of merlinite that I'll be using for the crystal scrying. So in order to clear the space today, I'm going to be using this piece of selenite that is wrapped in copper wire. And I'm just going to be brushing it over you to pick up any of that negative energy or detritus. Just pull that off. I was feeling really aggro on the way home today. So I hope that I don't start feeling aggro about things again. I didn't really act on it, but I was saying things, even though it was within my own car, I was saying things that were not as kind as I like to be. Not even that it was necessarily that bad, but I just don't like to feel myself slipping like that. So, focusing on loving everyone around me and not being angry with them because they're probably trying what they believe to be their best. They're probably doing what it is that they think that they need to be doing. So I need to be compassionate about that. So let's start on the sign of Taurus. Taurus, if you would like, go ahead and set your intention for the reading and allow any thoughts or ideas that you're having about that intention, things to do with that intention. Allow those things to rise up to the forefront of your mind. And just wait there patiently while I shuffle. Now, if these are things that cause you stress, or discomfort, or if you're feeling kind of icky for any reason, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. So as you inhale, draw in divine source energy from way out in the universe. And you can visualize that entering your body in whatever form makes the most sense to you. It could be divine white light. It could be like when Kirby sucks up enemies. And allow that source energy to infiltrate every cell, every molecule, every fiber of your being. And then exhale and release any discomfort, any negative emotions you're having, anything like anxiety. Just release all of that back out into the universe, and it will be transmuted. Okay. Excuse me. I'm having a hard time with the textures of food lately. So if you can relate, put it down in the comments below. And that's after the timestamp, so everyone will hear that. Okay, let's start in the past, Taurus. Look who it is. It's the single lady. So this card, the Nine of Pentacles, is about financial freedom and success. It's a very Taurus-aligned card. We got all those pentacles, that earth energy there, comfort, style, class, just like you, Taurus. So this card showing up in the upright in the past shows that you are embodying this very stable, financially secure energy. And this started in the past and is moving you into the present. So that figure is solitary. So you could be single at this time, but if you're not, you're very independent within the framework of your relationship. So here in the place of the significator, that's you, Taurus, within this reading, the querent. We have some guarded energy. So we have the Nine of Wands in the place of the significator, and it's crossed by the Five of Wands. So that's a lot of wand energy showing up, and it's a lot of this wand energy having to do with competition, rivalry, maybe not totally trusting the people around you, but not because they are being underhanded, just because you're kind of all in competition for similar resources. It seems a little bit stressful, but could also be leading you to growth, because that's kind of the key of the Five of Wands, is that there is creative growth occurring here within this. You're also trying to guard, something that you have already attained. But this is a passive kind of guarding. It's not like with the Seven of Wands where you're actively fighting off people who want what you have. Down here in the Imam Silai, we have the light in the reverse. So there could be, I've read this card a couple of times now. This is part of the Secret Arcana, but I want to make sure I get it right. So in the reverse, it's about hidden lies. In the upright, it's hidden truths. In the reverse, it's hidden lies. And that, of course, could have you feeling very guarded in the current situation. Because if you're surrounded by all this competition and people are kind of not telling each other the truth, then that's a really reasonable response on your part, Taurus. Here in your perspective, we see the eye, and it's showing up in the reverse. So usually this is about being able to see all the colors of the spectrum. This is 14. But when it shows up in the reverse, it's saying you blinked. There's something that you might have missed. Something you might have missed. And it might have to do with these hidden lies. These could be things that are not super well hidden, right? They could be things that if you were less wishful thinking, or if you felt a little differently about your attachments to certain things, you might be able to see them quite clearly. From the outside looking in, people think that you're lying too. We have the Page of Swords here in the reverse. And this is about fake news, misinformation, lies. Can also be about spying. So we might also have a situation here where people are spying on you, Taurus. And in that case, it would be very good to keep an eye out yourself. Here in the future, we have the Fool card, and this card is showing up in the upright. This is about leaving all your baggage behind. It's about moving on from situations and having a clean slate, tabula rasa. And we have this trusty and faithful little dog companion here who's trying to desperately warn this figure that he's about to walk off the cliff because he's not paying attention. So there can be aspects of being a little too pure situations, a little bit of naivete, but that's not necessarily the case. I think in the future, for you this time, Taurus, this Fool card is about kind of walking away from all of this shenanigans and finding a new start somewhere. You could be moving, but you could also just kind of be leaving certain social situations behind or a workplace behind, leaving things behind that are getting overly cluttered with misinformation and lies and things that you don't really want to see. Here in your hopes and fears, we have the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords is somebody who speaks their truth, even if people get hurt, because it's the right thing to do. This is in opposition to the eye here in your perspective. So you are hoping that you will be able to speak the truth, even if you feel like you might have missed something, even if you feel like you don't necessarily have a full picture of what's going on. Here in the midheaven, we have the Moon card, and the moon is showing up reversed. So this could be things that were previously hidden coming to light. Because these things are hidden in the current situation, I do think that they will eventually be coming out. Everything will be much more clear in the long term. And I think part of that is going to be looking at it in retrospect as you move on with your own life and don't get too bogged down by certain things. The final outcome for you in the reading today, Taurus, is the Spider. This is another secret arcana. It's showing up in the reverse here. And this card, the final outcome is kind of like it ties up all the loose ends, and it helps you to move forward through the situation. It's like advice. So the Spider card in the reverse is about entrapment. Entrapment. So that's very interesting because we don't have like the Eight of Swords here, which would typically. I just kicked my water bottle over. I hope that wasn't super loud in the video. Sorry about that. It's one of the benefits of doing lives. We don't have a lot here about feeling trapped. In fact, we feel quite free, right? Could be a gilded cage type situation. It could also be entrapment in your loyalties to certain situations, getting caught up in social jockeying. There could be a few things by which you could be entrapped, Taurus, and especially because Taurus craves comfort and security, that you might have a tendency to hold on to things because they are comfortable. But overall, it will be much better if you let go of those things, because otherwise you're running the risk of being trapped. But I don't think that this is that much of an active threat for you, Taurus, because I see so many cards here about moving forward. Like the Fool card is a perfect example of that. So possibly there are just one or two things that you're hesitant to let go of. And I encourage you to move on as gently as you possibly can, because in the future, things are going to be much more clear and you'll understand why it was important to let go of this particular situation. So that is going to conclude the Taurus reading for this week. I'm going to turn those cards over and we're going to move on to the Virgo reading. Virgo. And Virgo, if you would like, go ahead and set your intention for the reading. And allow any thoughts or ideas having to do with that intention to rise up to the forefront of your mind. Just wait there patiently while I shuffle. Okay. And if any of those things are causing you discomfort or feelings of stress, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. As you inhale, draw in divine source energy and allow it to infiltrate every cell, every molecule, every membrane of your person. And then as you exhale, just release anything that's no longer serving you back out into the universe, and it will be transmuted. So write down the Virgo timestamp here. Sorry, I'm just fake crying. When I have a hard time, I let myself fake cry. So here in the past, for you, Virgo, we have the Three of Swords. There's some kind of heartbreak that's very fresh for you at this time. This can represent a breakup, it can represent an argument, it can represent losing touch with a close friend over some BS, is kind of how it's coming through for me. And this is very fresh. It's something that you're still dealing with. Virgo, you have like a ton of major arcana cards coming out in your reading this week. In the place of the significator, we have the Death card. So that's all about transformation and change and letting go. So I think that there could be overall a very large transformation going on, but also that you could be letting go of this hurt. Crossing is the Empress card. And the Empress is somebody who allows things to come to them. It is the divine passive energy. It's a receptive energy. It doesn't necessarily require a fertilizing spark from without, but it does require that fertilizing spark. And this is associated also with Venus energy. So can tie in your fellow earth sign of Taurus, or could tie in also Libra energy through that Venusian connection. Also the day Friday, which is going to be tomorrow, is associated with Venus. But you could just be kind of sitting back and allowing good things to come to you during this time of transformation. Not being too active, not being too proactive, not trying to enforce your will on things. You could also be very appealing at this time. The Empress is a very appealing, warm, open, even a motherly sometimes energy. Down here in the Imam Silai, Virgo, you are coming out in your own reading. So the Imam Silai is the foundations, the groundwork for what is eventually going to happen in the goal or destiny. And we have the Hermit here, that you could be very solitary at this time. You could be seeking answers within the self. You could be communing with the higher power, shining this enlightenment out into the world at this time. And that's going to be setting the foundations for you in the future. From your perspective, we have one of the secret arcana cards coming out. And this one is the Door. Now it's coming out in the reverse. And this is your perspective on the current situation. In the reverse, it's preventing access to the portal. So you might perceive that right now the way is blocked for you in a certain situation. That may or may not be the case. It may or may not be true that that you are able to access or not access. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. Divine timing is everything in these situations too. Here, from an outside person's perspective looking in, they see you walking away from something. So the Eight of Cups is actually a pretty decent situation, but somebody's walking away because they know that something better is out there. And this might not be the right situation for them. They might be better off, taking their chances elsewhere. The key with this card is not the pilgrimage, the travel aspect of it. There is motility in this card and mobility, but the key aspect of this card is the fact that this person is leaving, is walking away. Virgo, here in the future for you, we have more mobility and we have victory. And that is the Chariot card. So this can also be Cancerian energy. And we have, these two sphinxes that are different colors. They're kind of pulling in slightly different directions, right? But overall, the Chariot is moving forward. This person doesn't even have to steer the vessel for it to move in the right direction. The Chariot card is also a little bit like when your manifestation really takes hold, and you shift from one reality into your ideal reality. So that's coming in for you in the future. And this Death card, of course, is going to be part of that process. Here in your hopes and fears, you have the Seven of Wands. It's in the upright. And this has to do with feeling like you're going to have to defend yourself in some way. It can be because others envy you. It can be because others want what you have. But it can also be a result of your own headspace. And feeling like you have to defend certain positions that you hold. This is in opposition to this door being in the reverse. So you might feel like you're at the top of this hill, having to defend yourself, and it's blocking you from getting through that door. There's some connection there between the feeling like that's part of the process for you and feeling like simultaneously that you are being blocked somehow. Now, in the midheaven, because you have gone into seclusion with this Hermit card here, we have the Eight of Swords in the reverse. You will be freed from your bondage if you are feeling trapped at this time. The eventual outcome is going to be your liberation, that you no longer feel trapped. You no longer feel like you're not able to move forward or that you don't have the key. And that is going to be because of this work that you're laying down in the current situation, Virgo. The final outcome card for you is the Wheel of Fortune, and it's showing up in the reverse. So, to me, because of the position of that card, I feel like in this particular situation, your fortune is what you make it. And not to be relying on luck in the current situation. Not that you won't have a certain amount of luck or that fortune is turning against your favor, but the reminder that everything is cyclical. And so relying too much on luck puts you at a disadvantage to that cyclical nature of time and how things go. And that is in opposition to that Eight of Cups, where you are taking hold of your own reality, Virgo, in this situation. So that is going to be the Virgo reading for this week. I'm going to be moving on now to the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn, if you would go ahead and set your intention for the reading. And just allow any kind of thoughts or ideas that you're having at this time about that intention to rise up to the forefront of your mind. I'll wait there patiently while I shuffle the cards. And then If there are things about that which are causing you stress or discomfort, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your donation. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming, Lanky Man Stan. If there are things about that that are causing you discomfort, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. As you inhale, draw in the divine light of Source and allow it to infiltrate every fiber of your being. And then exhale. And just release any of that tension or pain or discomfort that you might be feeling at this time, Capricorn. And it will be returned to Source. And it will be transmuted. All right, so write down your timestamp here. And we can get started. Here in the past, Capricorn, we have the Page of Pentacles. There might have been a job offer or an offer that would have brought in more money for you. It would have been something where you would have, it would have grown over time. The Pentacles are about manifesting and making concrete in this plane different things. So with the Pentacles, that's going to be earth energy concretion, having to do with material resources. So there could have been a period in the past where that was taking place for you. Now, that particular time has ended, but that energy is, of course, still going to affect what is currently happening for you. Now, here in the current situation, we have the Seven of Pentacles. And this card is about evaluating the energy that you're expending against the payoff that you're getting in return. And you're looking and you're deciding, am I really making enough money doing this? Am I getting enough payout for the effort that I'm putting in? This can be in friendships, it can be in jobs. We do have that Page of Pentacles in the past for you, Capricorn. So this could be you evaluating now that you've been acquiring wealth, making resources concrete through a certain avenue. You're looking at if that is something that is really viable for you, something that you really want to continue doing. And the crossing energy for this is the Magic card. And this is one of the secret arcana. I am so glad I got them, and I love combining the two decks. The Magic card, I believe, is in here, but possibly not. It has to do with your powers of manifestation. It also has to do with believing in the power of magic in the world, believing that magic exists, that it is capable of bringing things into your life. So this particular way of making money could even have to do with magic. You might be doing full moon rituals, you might be doing candle magic for money, there's all kinds of different ways to do money magic. Some of them we've done here on this channel, right? And you're evaluating possibly whether or not that's something that is going to long-term be viable for you, Capricorn. Down here in the Imam Silai, so this is talking about the things that are going to provide the foundation for the future for you. We have the Five of Cups in the reverse. So getting over disappointments. If there have been recent setbacks or things didn't go the way that you wanted them to, you are kind of brushing off those things. You're kind of just letting it go and not really focusing on any of your disappointments at this time, which is especially good when you're doing that evaluation process. You don't want to be dwelling on the negative things. You want to be mindful of things that are a severe setback, but you also don't want to be overly disappointed because the cute receptionist didn't smile at you enough. You could be disappointed by all kinds of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a deal breaker. So from your perspective, Capricorn, you're showing up as the Queen of Wands. Some of you might be Sagittarius cusp. This is water of fire energy, and the Queen of Wands is somebody who's very charming, very charismatic. They're the life of the party. As soon as they show up, everybody knows that they're going to have a good time. In fact, I have a friend who's a Queen of Wands, but a Pisces. Who knew? So that's how you are perceiving yourself showing up at this time. From an outside person's perspective, looking in on your current situation, we have the Two of Wands, and it's showing up in the reverse. Somebody could be perceiving about you at this time that you're not putting in adequate planning, Capricorn, or perhaps that you're not putting in the amount of planning that you usually do, because for a Capricorn to not be putting in enough planning in a process, I have a hard time believing that, you know. But it's possible too that you're planning things, but you're not really talking about them. And then other people around you wouldn't know what your plans are, wouldn't know what you intend to do. And so that's possibly what is going on right now. Here in the future, Capricorn, we have the Six of Cups, and it's showing up in the reverse. You're leaving things from the past behind you. You are letting go of things having to do with nostalgia, possibly having to do with childhood. This can also be about overcoming trauma from childhood, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be letting go of things from the past, looking forward, looking into the future. The future, the future. Here in the position of your hopes and fears, we have the Knight of Pentacles showing up in the reverse. This is fire of earth energy, and it has to do with being afraid when this card shows up reversed that money's going to be rushing out faster than it comes in, or that it's going to be very, very slow to come in. But that's just a fear that you're having. Now, this is in opposition to you showing up as this Queen of Wands. You could be using money at this time to build charisma points. That's not necessarily the case, but it is a possibility. And you could be worried that you won't have enough coins to cash in for charisma points. I don't think that's the case. Your real charisma is going to shine through from within, no matter how much you try to repress it, Capricorn. Here in the midheaven, we have the Four of Wands showing up upright, This is a certain amount, a certain level of wish fulfillment. It's not quite like the Nine of Cups. It can be purchasing property, building a foundation for something. So letting go of all of these disappointments is really going to help you build a foundation for your future. And it can also be about marriage. It's kind of like happily ever after, but with a sequel. Because we're not quite through the cycle yet. We're just at the Four of Wands. We're not all the way up into the high digits, you know. So you know that things are going very well at this time, and they have the potential to get even better. The final outcome for you, Capricorn. This is a very interesting card to get in this position. It's the Three of Cups in reverse. You might be letting go of some old friendships at this time. This card is showing up in the reverse in opposition to where people don't really see what your plans are right now. But it also has to do with this. There could be people that you've been very close to since childhood, or there could be people that you've known for a very long time that you're very close to, and you might be letting go of some of those attachments at this time. Now, that's not necessarily bad. It could just mean that you're relocating somewhere else. It could mean that you are taking up new hobbies, doing new things. I see a lot of new energy here. And especially if you're not really making your plans well known, people aren't going to know where to look for you. So it can be painful, of course, to leave old friendships behind. But that is the advice that you're getting to close out this reading. That is going to conclude the Earth sign readings for this week. This week. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to go now over to the members side of the channel to do the crystal scrying. If that is of interest to you, you are cordially invited. But your presence here on the channel, whether that's likes, shares, subscriptions, just watching the video and enjoying it, commenting, showing up in the chat, any of those things are so greatly appreciated. Thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you again very